We need to be put in check.
Tony, the safest hands are still our own.
I'm doing what has to be done to stop something worse.
How long are you gonna play both sides?
Do you really want to punch your way out of this?
You chose the wrong side.
Keep telling yourself that.
Close the door. No need to worry no more. Let's bring this day to a pleasant end. Girl, it's me and you now.
Welcome to Super Friends Super Show Nights, a show where we talk about superhero movie news, comics, and things that relate to the two. We just saw a heck of a film in the theaters, and when I say heck, I don't mean hyperbole-wise. Like, it was really great. I don't mean to show my hand at all as far as what I thought of it. I am Sean Dwyer, and I'm joined by my super friends, and we're going to talk about Captain America: Civil War. Mike McLean is here.
Yes, I am.
Mike, you are just glowing.
I'm great. I'm always glowing. I'm pregnant, so I didn't want anyone to see. I actually have a baby in my uterus.
Oh, this is just Super Friends first. It is a nighttime. You know,
I got shot up with that Arnold Schwarzenegger Jr. concoction that they made with Danny DeVito.
It's like that super soldier serum.
Yes, only it's a baby.
Only it's a baby, and you didn't die in hyperstasis.
No,
which is sad. Speaking of someone who didn't die in hypostasis, hyperstasis. Hyperstasis?
Yeah.
I would think hypo because it's
because you're getting cold. Speaking of getting real cold on the mic, Sean Brennan getting a little cold. How you doing, Sean? You were with me earlier.
I was. It seems so early
because it's so nighttime right now. We were at Free Comic Book Day,
right?
Queen City Books, which is they do a fantastic job lining up those comic books in a row where you can pick them up.
Oh yeah,
you can put them in a bag, but God forbid you mix and match what books you put in the bag. If you put the free comic books and then you also put the books you're going to put in the bag for your own stuff that you're going to purchase.
Don't you do that?
A guy yelled at me.
That makes sense.
Well, okay, so what happened was that
did you see it happen? Did you see what happened?
I didn't see it happen,
okay.
But I had a woman describe it to me.
The people we're talking about.
No, so what happened was I was rifling through just like the dollar bin box.
Look at this. Do you hear about this guy over here?
He's got a baby. What the hell?
Like, word on the street is.
So the woman
was this outside?
Yeah.
So because it happened inside.
This is before that.
Wow.
So I'm rifling through like a dollar bin box just to see what they have, and the woman's like, "None of these comics are for free. I'm just letting you know." I'm like, "Yeah, the box says."
Oh, so she was doing her job.
Yeah.
And you assumed she was talking about me.
No. I'm like, "Yeah, I got that. It's fine." She's like, "Well, it's just because some guy came in, like he started just like picking up comics. Like he just
I don't think that was me. I think that's some other idiot who's picking up comics. I had a baby in one arm and I had a bag in my other one. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to free up some real estate here. I'm going to start putting these books in my drop the baby. Fend for yourself, baby. And some guy's like, hey, what are you doing over there? I'm like, I'm trying to put these books in this bag you gave me. The books I'm going to purchase. He's like, we can't mix and match. I'm like, what's the bag for, man?
Well, it's because,
I understand the reason. He's like, well, kids come in here. I look like an old man, first of all.
But you brought a kid. You brought a kid.
I know. It's my own fault here. Mark McLean on the show, the night edition, a new era, new blood. Everyone has a different.
He's like the Shane McMahon.
Facial hair, 5 o'clock shadows. Mark McLean, how are you?
Gentlemen, very good to be here. It's been, years in the making. I've never made an appearance.
Right.
Very happy to be here. Just off of a fresh, we won't talk about it yet. I'm sorry.
What do you got there? You're drinking an adult beverage. Ooh.
I'm sitting in a very, like I said, worldly chair.
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk some stuff about movies.
Mark McLean's, his posture right now, let me just describe it to the people listening. He is cross-legged. He has his dynamic microphone. He's got a nice ball cap, which has an insignia on it, which is easier to find than a hat that doesn't have any branding on it, which is very prevalent in Captain America: Civil War. So probably a little, if you would have, maybe looked for a hat that didn't have that insignia, you would still be out there looking and on the run,
not
surely.
Able to do any sneakiness without a hat. Like
that's difficult.
I think that's probably would be more detrimental to trying to be incognito,
right?
It's because people would be like, "Where'd you get a hat with no logo on it?" Like everyone would be walking up and talking.
Hey,
can I ask? I've been looking for one forever, and I haven't been able to find it.
Also, I can't seem to get a cell phone signal around your arm.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know if that's about it. When's the last time you washed your hair, sir? I know how greasy. I think the Winter Soldier's hair looks fine.
So we're just going right into it.
Well, we'll get there. Yeah, we're getting in there. Slowly we're putting a little frosting on the cake, and we're gonna dig in,
so people know what's coming up.
Yeah, so what's coming up basically is we're going to talk. We just in the theater, and not to give a plug, they don't need our business any more than they need your business, listening audience. We went to AMC, the comfy seats, and a bit of a fun story, a bit of a social experiment that we did for you, the super listeners here on the Super Friends Super Show Nights Edition. We went and got tickets at AMC, the comfy seats where you have to get your tickets ahead of time, and you have an assigned seat number, and we got a number of seats, and we left one in between because we didn't know if Sean Brennan was coming.
No, he's a man of mystery.
And I'm like, if Sean Brennan does come, or we get another person to join us, maybe later on they can get that seat that we left in this group of 6. And I bumped into Sean Brennan, like I mentioned earlier today. I'm like, Sean, what are you doing? And you slipped up and you said, I requested off.
Yeah. Well, I called off.
You called off, right?
Because I'm like,
and now I'm like, well, I've trapped you. You can basically, you can't say.
Call in sick for laundry.
It's a thing that needed to be done. I have a lot of laundry.
Because I know now you have nothing going, no plans.
Yeah, he trapped me with a baby in one arm and just a crowd of people in line behind me. Like, I couldn't go anywhere.
You couldn't go anywhere. I know terrible. You had no plans, so you had to say yes to whatever I suggested.
Pretty much.
Which was a movie, and so I'm like, let's go on Fandango right now. Let's get you a ticket. And the only seat left in this entire theater at 7 o'clock at AMC was the one seat that I left in between us of the row 6. So... amazing.
I don't think that's amazing. I think many people have been like, I want to see the movie, but
I don't want to sit.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be.
Right. No, that's exactly what I planned.
Or if someone was like, I want to see the movie with my girlfriend, but I'm not going to pick one chair and just have them.
It's just the two of them sitting in one chair.
Because we're like 2 or 3 rows down. I left the open chair kind of like off to the right, so like it's not like you can just come and be sad and just kind of sit up in a corner. So I thought this ahead, and it worked out. Sean Brennan, you were able to join us.
Can I say something really quick without hurting anyone's feelings? I think we're spending a little bit too much time on this chair.
we're doing some dressing right now. We're laying the scene. People are understanding. All right, how did you get there? Who sat where? What were the
I will say that
instances
at like
that
the
led
halfway point, I heard someone's chair like just shut, like that slow fart.
Well,
you can
fart
adjust
chairs.
your chair.
Yeah.
Right. You can.
They are fart chairs.
Yeah, and
not that you can fart in them, but anytime they move.
The lady behind us loved. That was her favorite part of her movie going experience.
You can. They're electronic chairs where you can adjust them back and forth, and then because they're big plush leather chairs, they make a sound.
Well, she laughed every single time they made a sound, and then afterwards, when we were waiting for any end credit scenes, she was talking. She was letting her family, who she went there with, know how she was laughing at all the fart sounds. She was saying, "I was laughing so much when those chairs are fart." It's
a very meta way that she approaches the fart sounds. She's aware of the fact that she likes the fart sounds so much.
I felt bad for one couple who were in front of us, they were both larger people.
Okay. Good. Real issues.
I felt bad because, everyone was chuckling at the fart sound, but every time the guy moved, the chair made a fart sound.
Yes. It wasn't my proudest moment that I audibly laughed right behind him.
These big leather chairs.
Should have done that.
And I thought people were actually, you can't help but when you move in your chair to cause a sound in these leather chairs, this movie is going on. But you can adjust your chair, and every single time you adjust your chair with the electronic function, it goes back and forth and makes that sound.
Yeah.
I think we were discussing in the parking lot, Sean. The chair should lock. There should be a thing on the screen that says, get comfortable, 10, 9, and then there's a countdown, and the chairs lock.
Yeah, because people are always super considerate in movie theaters.
No problem.
And they always listen to the screen, too. So it's a great idea.
It is a great idea, and a great idea was to make a movie with directors who seem to have a grasp on the source material. The characters have done movies like this before. They have built on movies that preceded this one. This isn't a movie, the directors, the Russo brothers have said, this isn't a movie for someone who's just seeing a Marvel movie for the very first time. We're leaving those people in the dust. We are now at a stage now where we can make movies and assume that you've seen everything, you're kind of familiar with these characters. And
it's called phase 3.
It's phase 3.
Yeah, so. And you're just like, oh, what's this Marvel thing? I guess I'll check it out. I feel bad for the person who thought they were seeing a Civil War documentary.
I think Captain America would have given that away.
No. You don't know that. You don't know that for sure. He's like, but
they could have just read it. America's Civil War. Yeah.
This interesting.
They skipped over the captain. Like, and the paper was like smudged because he still gets paper.
Yeah, and he's already smudged over the captain.
And he's like, what is the going? This isn't how it.
I don't remember
My teachers were wrong.
Man.
Abe Lincoln had a very small cameo. He was like a bus. He was a bus boy. It was a blinked and you missed it kind of moment. It was one of those Easter eggs that you talk about. But this movie, you hear about, talk about anyone who's aware of movies. They're familiar with how those things work. But we saw this film in a theater, and one of the things we kind of talked about before we sat down to record this podcast, the 4th edition of Super Friends Super Show Nights. Should we talk in depth about the trailers that they basically said, how many trailers can we make people sit through before we give them the movie?
I would say AMC. I would say AMC probably has less trailers than
Regal.
Does.
Yeah, Regal plays commercials. They bombard you with commercials for like the first 5 minutes. That's why.
You were super late.
Yeah,
so.
That's actually what I thought was happening. I'm like, well, I don't
missing the commercials.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I don't care about the goddamn commercials for Tide.
Which ones, did any of the, I've seen basically all these trailers 1,000 times, but it's amazing.
This was the first time I saw that particular.
Which one?
X-Men Apocalypse trailer with the little thing at the end. I thought it all looked the same, and then they showed, the Wolverine claw at the end.
Yeah.
For a little fan service.
I don't know. Whatever it sounded like. Schnick. Thank you. Thank you.
Snick? No, Snick, it was late night programming.
That's right.
On Saturday night on Nickelodeon.
Have you seen Orange Couch?
Snick. But did you like the fact that they didn't show Hugh Jackman, even though he may or may not be in this movie? That's the question.
Or are they just showing that like as a, please come see our movie. It's our first time without him.
Honestly, as a person who does a superhero podcast, I don't know. I haven't been able to trouble myself to look it up.
You didn't like.
I did like Days of Futures Past, but I didn't like First Class.
Right.
No, I am inconsistent with my X-Men.
Well, no, we could
likings.
say the different director probably played into that.
Probably shouldn't. Brett Ratner. Oh, I thought you just didn't want to.
Brett Ratner was X-Men
Vince Vaughn.
No. Matt Vaughn.
Matt Vaughn. Vince Vaughn had a hand.
I felt his presence.
What are you guys doing? I need the X-Men over here, and I can't see anything. I can't. That's my bad. That's my bad impression of today.
Vince Vaughn had a hand. I like to think that he has like kind of like a mutant power to like wow me as a theater goer. But I digress. We saw a movie where Captain America, Civil War, not set in Civil War times, but instead a Phase 3 film in the Marvel Studios cinematic universe. And already I'm watching 5 minutes in and I'm like, thank God this is not Batman vs Superman.
No, man.
I think I can enjoy movies more now having seen Batman vs Superman. After 5 minutes, I'm like, wow, I just relax and just kind of let it all go.
Well, let's go around the room and, because I'm sure we'll talk about spoilers eventually. But before we get to even general impressions, let's just go with did you like it or did you not like it? Or was it what you expected or was it what?
Let's start with you, Mike.
Okay. I liked it.
Yes.
I thought I was going to like it a lot more.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think, you know what? I think that's your fault. I don't think that's Marvel Studios' fault.
I think it's your fault for not liking it.
Because Marvel Studios, they're just doing the best they can. But yeah, they've set the bar so high.
Well, there was a lot of hype to the movie as well. I don't know if that was going in. Yeah. I would say I thought the beginning was a little bit. I mean, I think they more than made up for it at the end. But I thought the beginning was a little bit like
Gets to the point.
What are we doing, guys? We get it.
Yeah, the Crossbones character, who they initially go in, who's this terrorist.
Well, I understand why they had to do that.
It was kind of like its own separate thing. Didn't really tie into the plot as much, other than just showing like what the Avengers, what this version of the Avengers is doing now. But I thought Crossbones in all the trailers and set photos, I thought he was going to factor more into the plot than he did. He didn't, though.
And in Civil War, he's
right.
He kills Captain America at the end of the comic, right?
That is correct.
And Sharon Carter,
I think that's right.
I think Sharon Carter shoots him.
She's hypnotized or something.
Yeah, and Crossbones really shoots him. He
really
snipes him, but it looks like that Sharon Carter shoots him.
Yeah, and so he didn't really factor into that at all, even just like being mad at Captain America for not remembering him, for crushing him with the building.
And do you know what? Really, he's kind of a dick on that. Like, that's,
I know. He's like, I met a lot of people that day.
He was, it's not like he was just minding his own business and Captain America, fucked up his face.
Dropped the building on him.
Like,
he was being a dick.
Yeah, it's not like he totally, double-crossed Captain America. Yeah. If anyone should be mad in that relationship, it should have been Captain America. Because they were buddies. They were and then he's like, oh, I've been waiting for this, you son of a bitch. I wish Captain America would be like, well, I was cool to you. What are you talking about?
Didn't you trick me into get into an elevator with 16 of your friends to jump me and do whatever else to me? Yeah, I mean, right. Crossbones has no business being upset. Right. You don't get his side.
No, I didn't.
A lot of deleted scenes.
I thought it was a little silly.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth.
I didn't really like the line either when you dropped a building on me.
Yeah, on my face. He's like,
on my face.
Yeah, that really did a number.
Yeah, it is kind of tell that to Zod Snapneck.
So you liked it not as much as you thought you're going to, though?
I'll probably like it more on repeated viewings, which I'll see it again. And
yeah, there's a lot there to see again.
I think I just thought, and you know what? I'm not a huge shaky cam person, and I was very surprised to see as much of it in the movie as there was.
I think it made some of the choreography, the fight scenes, a little harder to follow than they should have been, because there's so much going on there and they're so finely choreographed. And having a shaky cam, you're like, wait, which way is this Hurricane Rana going? Which way is this head scissors going? You wonder. And right, I think that could have been improved on. So you liked it, and we'll get more into what maybe let you down as we continue on this 4th edition of Super Friends Super Show Nights. Mark McLean, let's keep it in the family here. I don't mean to say that, but this is the first sibling. I see I'm in new territories as far as things I should say, because this is the first ever sibling combination we've ever had on the show. We've had 2 Seans.
Yes.
And that took 30 episodes for me to get past.
Now we have 2 Seans and 2 McLeans as well.
Yeah,
it's great.
Which is probably, we should just change the name of the show.
2 Seans.
2 Seans and 2 McLeans.
No, I know it's not catchy enough.
It's not catchy, but it's accurate.
Mark's like, I don't want to do this every week, too. He's like, you're signing me up for something here, and I'm not.
No, I enjoyed it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Liked it a lot. I thought it was very good. Mike's touching on a few things. The shaky cam was actually something I was going to mention before. The fight choreography, tough to follow at certain points. This is the rule of 180, the 180 rule. It's hard to know if where you are, what direction these people are coming from. But other than that, I don't know. Story-wise, it is much better than Batman v Superman.
Yes.
Another thing I want to touch on later on in this podcast. We can get to that.
It knocks that out of the park.
So far, just 2 down, 2 to go. The impressions are better than Batman vs Superman. I think it's safe to say.
I think everything's better than Batman
because
Superman.
They're both versus movies, so they're very easy to compare. And I couldn't help do that the entire film myself. I guess we'll go to me since I'm already talking about me. And
it's all about you.
All the things I'm doing today. But I went in and the first 5 minutes I'm like, yeah, everyone's having a good time. They're moving around. Things are happening. It's not so dour. I like all these characters. The choreography is just this is great. I loved everything I was seeing. I liked it a lot. The ending, I think this is something I need to probably talk to a shrink about. I have hard times with endings. I think I have just really lofty expectations as far as how.
Wait, just in general with everything?
Just everything. I'm never satisfied with an ending. The only ending I ever liked, even though I didn't like much of the rest of the film.
Batman v Superman.
Batman v Superman. When that Batman beat that Superman right in the face, I was like, yes, that's how you be a Superman. But it was a Batman movie. It was Batman The Dark Knight Rises. I thought the end of that movie, I'm like, I got up and I stood up and I stretched.
Really?
Did I not?
I stretched.
I stretched. But I liked the end of that movie. That's one
thing that happened in the movie theater that I'd like to address to anyone listening. If you clap at the end of a screening of a movie that no one in the movie who is involved in the movie is at,
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. I'm like, should I? No, I'm not gonna.
It's been weird, you know?
People do that a lot.
It's not one of my pet peeves, but I don't get it either. It's, yep, watch that, guys.
Yeah, sure.
Like, that was
I'm going to let everyone in here know that I like that.
It's like, you know, if you are in an Iron Man suit and someone does that next to you, you can just give them one of those, like, quick, like, just fires that, you know, just those quick shots that just, like, this flippant, just kind of, like, shots that Iron Man gives to a couple people just, like, really quick in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they deserve it. And I like the movie a lot. The ending, I was just like, well, motivations. Where is his motivation? Was that a motivation that I should have kind of gotten behind? So, you know, but that's just me. I think that's my problem. I guess we'll get to that.
We'll get to that in more depth because I don't know what you're talking about.
That's my motivations. So what was my motivation to sit through this film 2.5 hours? A lot of motivation.
Was it 2.5 hours?
Yeah. See, it felt like just...
See, I don't know. That's the only thing I will say.
Okay.
It was 2.5 hours. I thought,
right.
When I got my phone number, I thought it would easily be 3.
Yeah.
It felt a bit like it dragged, and not right after the first 10 minutes, obviously, but that period where they're trying to kind of getting into this.
They're like, hey, you should sign this. I don't want to sign that. Okay. Well, let's do another scene where we talk about that exact same thing. I did do it.
Really got to sign.
All right. Do you know what? Let's do one more scene, and then we'll get to the
In this one, I bring a fancy pen set.
It was like watching a negotiation, though. So maybe
Civil War. I think they were drawing back to that. Just, you know, let my roadie go. I don't know. He was black, so that. Does it work, Sean Brennan?
We'll edit that one out.
What did work? What didn't work, Sean Brennan? I'm looking at you. Did you like it?
I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I didn't spend too much time, you know, worrying about what people had to say about it. Like, I knew I was going to see it. I knew I was more than likely going to enjoy it. I mean, I know the source material, and that's the one good thing I will say about the Russo brothers.
Yes.
Except for the very first Captain America movie, because that was just the worst.
And they weren't involved with that one.
Exactly. So what they are able to do is they're able to adapt source material that is already great and transfer that into a good movie as well. And that's what I really like about them, because a lot of movies who try to do like the superhero thing, they take like bits and pieces of stories and try to meld
There's
them into something.
There's too much ego there. They're like, you know what? We're just gonna do our own thing,
right?
Who are these comic book writers? You know, what are they?
Yeah,
what are they writing?
They get paid to do this. Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm a big time movie writer.
Well, if we're going by, you say the first is the worst. Would you say the second is the best?
I would honestly say that story-wise, the second is the best.
Okay, would the third be the nerd with the hairy chest? Is that what
it would be. It would be.
Question.
I mean, no. The fight scene.
And that's your Mike McLean bad joke of the day.
Mike McLean, everyone.
The big fight scene would actually make it the nerdiest of all three. Actually,
it is probably would qualify as the nerdiest, right?
With hairy chests.
Yeah,
yes.
Many hairy.
There's one thing I will say. It's towards the end of the movie is that Don Cheadle is grossly underused, because there's just one scene with him and Robert Downey Jr. where it's not like. Most of the times he's on, he's like, hey, I'm Don Cheadle. Here's my joke. I'm going to leave. And then there's one scene where they were like just talking seriously, and you're like, wow, Don Cheadle's a good actor.
He's a great actor.
And then, here's my joke. I'm going to leave.
Now I'm paralyzed. But if we are going to probably just, I know we talked about doing a non-spoiler side, but you're already here.
You ruined that like twice.
Let's just,
I mean,
we're going to get into spoilers. We're going to kind of like keep it light at first. So if you're starting to hear spoilers and you want to run away from your MP3 player,
just stop now,
because they're going to get worse and worse as we go along. The Scarlet Witch driving Vision deep into the core of the war. It's going to get worse the further down you go. Where Tony Stark's
You're in the mantle.
You're in the mantle at that point.
Okay, if we're going to go all delve right into that, what were the motivations that you didn't understand at the end?
Okay, so it's not necessarily, wasn't motivations. Okay, so you have Baron Zemo, Helmut Zemo is his first name. I liked his motivations. My only, I suppose critique on that, I just saw Batman vs Superman, which I think is the first time I'm mentioning this on this program.
Nope.
I just recently saw a movie that was similar. Then you're able to contrast equally the two fight promoters, Alexander Luthor and Zemo, and Zemo's motivations were far superior.
See,
to
I thought
Luthor's.
Zemo's motivations were closer to the wheel tray, the wheelchair guy in
right.
where he's just out for. But here's what I liked about.
But he's not trying to get Batman versus Superman to fight each other.
No, because Batman and Superman don't exist. But all right, anyway. So he's like a combination. But what I liked about what they did with Baron Zemo,
right,
is because Baron Zemo is from the comics, but kind of like they did with the Mandarin, but with not as much backlash.
Yeah, they changed his character a lot,
and it's almost like this. The whole world is so superpowered. Like everyone in this world is superpowered, and the main villain in this one is just a guy. He's just a guy.
Right.
Like he's just a human, and his motivation for the revenge is so inertly human that it's just like, that's neat. That's neat. And he was all set to blow his head off at the end, and that was going to be it.
But it's not like this. It's gonna be dark, kind of like he decides to blow his head off, kind of thing with that studios just kind of do. It felt. It very much grounded into his motivations, him doing it. It didn't feel like, they're going dark and edgy.
Well, the thing is
no, it worked. Well, I think everything about his character worked.
Yeah, it worked, and you could understand what he was doing. And as Mike said, it's a very human thing. And when you look at Alexander Luthor, you're just like, what? Like, so many of his actions just don't really have any significant point.
Like, why did he put the Jolly Rancher in that guy's mouth?
That was so fucking creepy. He's just like,
I need another motivation for that before anything else.
But even in the whole blowing up the Senate, why did he do it? There was no reason.
He didn't like that girl.
He didn't like that girl.
But did you have to kill everybody?
And he was able to.
Do you know how long it takes to get a personal assistant that you like?
And to find
how do you know he likes her? Obviously, he doesn't like her that much.
I guess so. So there's got to be some vetting process.
But with the other movie, I thought Zemo worked as far as the fight promoter. I thought I guess I was somewhat disappointed about the reason that Iron Man and Captain America decided to fight each other. It was over, it was over a dead parent thing again.
See, I like the red herring of the super soldiers. And then,
I like that a lot too. I like that.
It on itself.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. Back to you guys
there was a lot of
again.
misdirections as far as like what the actual plot was, what he was trying to do.
Which is another great part of it. Because you expect like,
Zemo was great.
Yeah, he's like, because he made that one line. He's like, what was it? Something will fall.
Empires will fall.
Well, the thing about it is like, and this is kind of a superhero movie trope that you you either accept and have fun with it, or if you want to nitpick with any logic, it's like when it all comes down to the plan, the ultimate plan is like so many things had to fall right to have Winter Soldier, Captain America, and Iron Man at this
and
place.
Black Panther.
Yeah, getting them. Well, he obviously wasn't planned for because
he screwed up the ultimate plan.
So he
that's right.
But
suicide.
Just to show him Tony Stark the video, the awesome VHS of just brutal. Like that was brutal.
That was another thing I was I liked a lot actually.
Right.
Was how brutal it was. And you're sitting here going, this is Disney owns Marvel, right?
Yeah.
And there's this, in the third act, there's this brutal homicide.
Well, I will say that it is Disney, so they're really easy with just, putting terrible things in front of people. Like really just horrific things.
Although I knew as soon as I saw John Slarty in that little, the CGI workup thing, I'm like, we'll see him die.
Well, and that's one of the great things about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie is just how diverse they can do so many things well. The humor landed.
Oh my God,
do brutal murder scenes, just quippy jokes, the action, everything is just firing in all cylinders. They can do everything in this film.
That fight, the airport fight was, you saw the trailers of it and you're like, that looks awesome. And the fight was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a lot less shaky cam in that. Yeah. But it was hilarious. Like Paul Rudd.
Yeah, let's start with what we liked about this movie first. We'll kind of do that. Yeah. So the airplane scene.
Oh, the airport scene. Yep.
Everything about that was great.
Paul Rudd killed it. Paul Rudd was hilarious. And we saw Giant Man, which was a surprise.
Right, he's like, I did it once and I passed out. And then he became Giant Man, which I thought was something I didn't expect. I expected the Ant-Man on the Arrow. I did not expect the Giant Man to come out.
I knew about Giant Man only because they had leaked a Lego playset with Giant Man.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I know. So I love ruining everything for myself all the time. I can't enjoy anything. I love my Lego spoilers. That's the thing. I get all my.
How often do toys spoil
every time?
Movies?
Yeah,
every time.
Actually, a lot of the time.
Every time,
because they have to come out before and during the movie, so they're just like
in the Amazing Spider-Man when they had the cops that turned into the lizards. They had toys with the lizard cops. I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yep.
I know what he's going to do.
I already know the plot. I thought, Mike, did you say that you saw Ant-Man recently for the first time? Who was it?
No.
Or was it someone?
I haven't seen Ant-Man
That's a
yet.
dream you had.
The thing is, I actually kind of want to see Ant-Man now.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't too worried about it, but seeing Paul Rudd within like the 10 minutes he has on screen,
Here's the thing about
thought
that.
it was good.
I didn't really think that Paul Rudd was that good as Ant-Man in the film Ant-Man, but I thought he was really well suited and really worked with this ensemble as far as playing his role as kind of this aloof, kind of like out of place, what am I doing here, kind of offbeat type of guy.
Here's your shield, Captain America.
Which you probably think would be your biggest fear when they casted Paul Rudd was,
Right.
well, I'm just going to see Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And you do see
And you
just
do.
Paul Rudd, a giant Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
He was beautiful
Fighting
in this.
Spider-Man,
He
which
was perfect in this.
List of things you think you would never see before would be that.
Right? Well, I mean, it's great because, one, there's a whole scene where they talk about who they're bringing in, what they're going to do. And so all you see is Clint, the Arrow guy.
Hot guy.
Thank you. He opens up a creepy van, and there's Paul Rudd just like sleeping on the back seat.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're Captain America. It's Captain. I know you, but you're Captain America."
Yeah, there were so many wonderful surprises in this movie, and this movie was so filled with stuff. That airport scene, I'm just sitting there, just kind of just marveling. I'm like, I cannot believe how much much they're doing here. You have Spider-Man flying around, you have Paul Rudd as Ant-Man,
Well,
you have
here's what
Robert
I'll
Downey
say about-
Jr. There's just, I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this movie.
Here's what I'll say about that, which is, I think this is the first time
Right.
in even a Marvel movie, because Marvel hasn't always pulled it off as perfectly as they did in this one. It was a mess in Batman vs Superman.
Oh, my-
yeah.
Way too much stuff in it. This
Right.
had more stuff.
20
than
times
Batman,
more stuff.
And it was pulled off so much
It was
better.
beautiful. You could see the fighting because they chose to set the big fight scene.
They turn the lights on. They're like,
yeah,
"We
they
should
turn the
just
lights on."
guys.
Why was that? Why did it come off more organic in this than it did Batman v Superman? Because it's
a great question.
Same amount of time, probably.
Right.
You know, honestly,
Where you're
it's
throwing all
just
this together.
it's just better production.
Setup.
And,
No, the story.
Yeah.
The story warranted it.
Yeah,
it
and-
was more of a setup of the story, and you understood. Like even in the Batman versus Superman, there's no other reason for the Justice League stuff. Like it's just kind of it's thrown in. It
Right.
feels thrown in.
And also, I think with Batman vs Superman, to have a fight between them where they're so mismatched, I think that was never the point of a Batman versus Superman confrontation. It was supposed to be Superman is basically holding
Ideology.
back. It's ideology, and you have Batman who's just firing everything at him.
Yeah. Well,
And-
even in the comics,
you
that
know
was the
what?
whole point. Like,
But in the movie, they were
Good point about that is
evenly matched.
the good point about that is most of the comic book it's down to the ideology, but
Right.
in the Zack Snyder DC universe, Superman's ideology isn't
right.
Superman's ideology. Superman's ideology is like, should I be doing this? Like he's not all truth, justice, in the American way against Batman. Kind of like, well,
it's because
the world's shitty, and I'm gonna.
it's because
make
he
the world
hasn't
less
been
shitty.
Superman long enough to be like, I
Shut
need
up.
to
Don't
stand for
excuse,
something.
Don't make excuses.
No. I'm not saying it's a good excuse. I'm saying that's probably why. I mean,
But you have the airport scene, and everyone's fighting, and they all have their different, very well-defined skill sets and power sets, and they're all kind of fighting in concert with each other, and it's so beautifully choreographed and so beautifully paced, and you understood basically what everyone was doing and what their purpose was.
Yeah.
You had it was just so perfectly done. You have teams, you have really close friends with War Machine, Iron Man, Falcon, and Captain America. So you know, like, who's like teamed up, who's like has a
And then
history
you
together.
even
It was
have
so well done.
you even have friends who are opposing each other
right.
with Black Widow and Hawkeye.
And there's a lot of jokes, but it felt like you had to have it because it was
Right.
such a ridiculous
Right.
notion to
and the
think you could
jokes
get that.
really worked.
Yeah,
The quips.
They hit every joke. Had.
yeah,
Batman vs Superman wasn't a single joke that worked in there.
there wasn't a smile.
There wasn't a
funniest
smile.
joke. I think the funniest joke it was, and the one that got the biggest laughter was just the cut to the reaction of Falcon and Winter Soldier after Captain America kisses Sharon Carter. Like after they have the kiss, they just cut to them in the car, and the look and like the smiling look they gave them was the big. That one hit, I think, the biggest.
And I liked that was great, but even the shot they showed before that with they're in like what type of car?
That's a Volkswagen Beetle,
Volkswagen Beetle,
like the original one.
And you have Falcon sitting in the front seat, and you have the Winter Soldier in the back seat, and the Winter Soldier complains, "You're going to give me a little room back here," and Falcon's like, "No," and that was it. That was as nuanced as it was.
And then he just scoots over,
and he scoots over, and they never would have done that in the Batman vs Superman because you have to understand why everything's happening. There's no nuance or subtlety.
I
to
love
any
the
jokes.
Falcon Winter Soldier relationship where, because I think you've had friends who are just who just know each other because they're friends with one person. So it's like if you weren't friends with my friend, I would not.
We would not
like
be hanging out right now.
Yeah.
We would not be hanging out. And I thought that their dynamic worked. Everyone, they thought about how these characters work together instead of it just being simply, here's a bunch of action figures. Let's just bang them against each other until they break. And in some cases they did break. Paralysis, arms falling off.
Can we talk about the spider in the store, in the corner? The spider, elephant in the corner. I made it, can we talk about Spider-Man?
Yeah. So Spider-Man, everyone knew he was going to be this movie. We saw I saw 17 seconds of footage was leaked by Disney over the entire advertising campaign.
Oh, okay, yes.
As far as just in commercials, 17 seconds is all we saw. He was in this movie more than Superman was in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah, I think so.
He had more lines.
He had more lines, certainly, but I think he was in the film more.
Well, it made him. It introduced the character first off, and it felt like you actually like understood the character. Like, oh, here's our new Spider-Man. So it's a good introduction. And it didn't feel forced. It didn't.
Is it because they've done it so many times in other movies where people can just kind of hit the ground running with Spider-Man?
That's what I loved about it. Is
we don't need to go through anything.
the little shots like
right now.
He didn't say the great power comes with great responsibility. He kind of said it. He worked around.
Right.
He said the same basic of it. But then when Tony Stark was saying, well, what is it? Do you have things? And he's like, well, it's kind of a long story. He's like, I don't want to hear it. It's so great. Because no one wanted to hear it. Everyone's like, yes.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear
it anymore. We've heard it.
Let's talk more about this scene. So you have Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, doing a field trip and visiting
that sexy
Peter Parker
Aunt May.
and Aunt May in their like New York City apartment. It's not this gorgeous house.
Super tiny.
It's not, it's just an upstairs type of apartment. It's not even a downstairs apartment where you can just, run right out the front door. 'Cause I'm trying to think of where Aunt May lived in,
she just lived in a house.
Yeah, house.
Jerry Maguire. It's not Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
What was who played the original
Jerry Maguire.
Spider-Man?
Jerry
Maguire did play
Toby
Maguire. Where did his Aunt May live? Was it in the house?
Yeah, that was a house.
It changed.
In Queens.
It was a house in Queens.
Right.
It was a house in kind of like a residential neighborhood with backyards. And the second one, I think they were in a duplex. It looked like they were like, or at least connecting houses.
A lot of space. This one was just in a very small New York apartment.
Well, it's more realistic,
right?
If you look at it, because she's younger. She probably doesn't have.
They made jokes about that.
Yeah, she probably doesn't have that sort of income about it.
They definitely made jokes about how hot Marissa Tomei is.
Right.
Because as soon as I see her, I always remember her from The Wrestler. And
Yes.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It is fine.
So you had her, and I like that they made jokes about, because that was the reaction that her casting got from the internet communities. Oh, she's too young. And she's like, oh, you can have all types of different aunts, types of people. So it was, I like that they addressed it. They did it in a fun way. And then you had Tony Stark and Peter Parker in his very small, realistic looking bedroom in a New York City apartment. Not a big space, very small space. It felt very...
There was no way he could put together a big picture link of lines to who killed it. Yeah.
Where does this subway coin?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
How does that factor into this new Peter Parker and his mythology? So they're in this very small bedroom, and I was just amazed that, like, wow, they are just doing this in this very confined space, just with two gigantic characters, Robert Downey Jr. and Spider-Man, and they're in this small bedroom for like 10 minutes.
Well,
it was great.
It's like the fight scene from The Winter Soldier.
Right.
It's a very small, confined space, but it's shot so well that even though it is small, it doesn't feel like it's claustrophobic. It feels realistic.
Yeah, the Russo brothers are fantastic. They are so well matched for this type of movie. So that scene, Tom Holland is so refreshing as Peter Parker. He's younger. He plays Peter Parker so much differently. I had no problem with the last Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield, but
he was too
you know what? It was his nerdiness when he was being awkward. It was too much of an affectation. Where he's too.
You are
cool.
charming and he's good looking. This kid looks like
too good looking. Damn it!
Yeah, this kid could be a nerdy kid.
You're like, no girls in your school don't like you, Peter Parker.
Right.
And also, I liked the logic that Peter Parker conveyed to Tony Stark, where he's like, you know what, and I'm stuck because I'm conflicted here because I have all these great powers and I can do all these things, but because I just got them 6 months ago, I can't just go out and just be the best football player because I wasn't the best football player 6 months ago. So I'm like trapped here. Yeah. I'm like, that is perfectly well. That is well said.
Described that
eloquently,
by Peter Parker.
Well, it's also really nice to hear.
So I have to stay this character because this is how.
Yeah. Another thing about the Amazing Spider-Man that didn't work, just to go back to that really quick, is they kind of played into it in the 21 Jump Street remake. Is the type of character that Peter Parker is. That's the cool kid now. The jocks who are picking on everyone, no one likes those people anymore. They're not the cool kids anymore. The cool kids are now this guy's into photography and he's a skateboarder and he's thin and good looking.
Yep.
What a nerd.
What a nerd. We hate him. We hate that kid.
Ew.
But Tom Holland, I thought, was fantastic. I thought everything about just the back and forth with Robert Downey Jr. and him was just fantastic.
Tom Holland was as refreshing as Ben Affleck was as Batman.
Yeah. I think he really worked. And then the way he worked, again, going back, you can't help but go back to that airport scene over and over again. The way that Spider-Man worked in that.
That's the airport scene is kind of, to me, like their big scene. I mean, you definitely see, there's no shaky camera. Everything's so well choreographed and there's so much going on that it didn't even feel like it was lagging at any point in time.
Would you say this is the apex? That scene is the apex of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is what it's all culminated to. That is the biggest scene they've ever done.
The run towards each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just...
It's like, what do we do now?
That's what I was thinking. Like, how are they going to top this?
Well, and then let's go back to Peter Parker in fighting. So Peter Parker, he had his homemade suit and he had goggles on, his homemade suit, which was funny. But
he reasoned that
he's like, my senses are at 11. And it makes sense.
I need these to focus the ability to see my senses, and which is great.
And I like that he's only been Superman. He's only been Spider-Man.
Iron Man snuck an umbrella over the crawl space.
Right.
Seconds later, he says, "My senses are so heightened." So heightened.
But I mean,
notice that one, Pete.
No, and his quips in the fighting, like he finally meets Captain America, and he's like, Captain America, like he salutes Captain America because he's still a kid, like just like Paul Rudd never really met like this group of people before. They're still kind of awestruck, and Spider-Man with his new suit, he looks like Spider-Man. It's not flashy, that it doesn't shine. Like, it doesn't glisten. It doesn't look like a basketball. It looks like fabric, which is super awesome.
But that's what the thing about, the funny, cause you said that you didn't like the ending. Something that Spider-Man said in the airport scene was just bringing up Empire Strikes Back, cause I thought this ending was very much the same feel as the ending of Empire Strikes Back. It feels like everyone's kind of at their lowest point, but there's still hope coming into the Infinity War when everyone's going to be coming back together. And the Infinity War is going to be directed by the Russo brothers. So.
And I just wonder, because with the last two movies they've done, Winter Soldier and this film, they're such small personal stories where you have, Captain America is kind of like trying to figure things out. There's like kind of like a political espionage type of like mystery kind of unfolding, and doing like a intergalactic alien invasion with Thanos wreaking havoc on cities is going to be a stretch for them.
Well, the good news is it's in 2 parts. They don't have to cram it all into like a 2.5 hour film. So that's I feel like that's going to be hopefully work in their favor.
I like to give more credence to filmmakers and saying, well, just because we haven't seen you do this before doesn't mean that they can't do it.
I just can't imagine Thanos showing up in this movie. So I guess that's what I'm having a hard time visualizing.
He wasn't supposed to show
and he
up
wasn't.
Movie,
I know, I understand that. But it's just I have a hard time visualizing Thanos, a character like Thanos, in this world that the Russo brothers have kind of created as far as like their style of
I mean, I think it's because they don't. I think it's because they just haven't set it up. Like, I think if they set up the Avengers film, it would have had a totally different feeling. Mm-hmm. People wouldn't have walked away as meh as people did when they saw Avengers, because the Avengers film Age of Ultron was just kind of a meh film.
Okay, you're talking about Age of Ultron.
I don't think so at all.
Mike McLean does not.
I did not like that film at all. I was so bored with it, and I hated it.
I'd like you to leave my home.
Well, okay, it is your home.
What stood out about the movie, though?
About
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron? I thought it was well made. I thought the character... I liked how, they set up how well they worked as a unit. And then I liked how it really planted the seeds for this one, how they were breaking apart. I loved the villain. I think you're only as strong as your villain, and I thought James Spader was great. He was like this, Stumpy, giant metal antithesis of Tony Stark. Like he would have been. They really had that element of Tony Stark's personality that went into Ultron, and I just loved James Spader's performance.
And then he had computers fucking because that's what happened
in the Vision scene where he dismantled Jarvis, and he's he got in there. Yeah, where they had that visual
super
thing,
sexual.
and it got super sexual. Sean Brennan, we went to go see the movie together, and Sean Brennan, I look over to him.
Maybe if he was in the movie with you, maybe that's why I was thinking.
That's
super
right.
Sexual.
Well, I'm a very sexual person. The scene was going on, and I turn over to Sean Brennan, and he's doing that circle and finger through the thing. He's signaling that back with him, like, "Whoa, Sean Brennan!"
I was doing that for a good minute before he looked at me, and I had
the scene was over. It's like, what about Tony Stark?
I should propose, and I'm like, yes, Sean Brennan, I should propose. This movie is wonderful.
What did you not like Age of Ultron, Mark?
I did. But it's kind of what Sean was touching on. I didn't. It's a very forgettable film for me.
Yeah,
the rewatchability of Age of Ultron to me is not.
I watched it today.
No, I watched it about 2 days ago. I still love it.
I was very bored, but we talked about this.
Great villain, but other than that, it's a tough one to really remember anything that went on in that one.
Plus, I thought they did a lot more.
I'll tell you beat for beat right now.
Sorry, I want to actually. Can we just have Mike recite everything that happened in Age of Ultron?
But
starting with the opening credits, how they all played out.
But getting back to
photography,
to Civil War. Let's talk about. Let's start. Let's talk about the characters,
cities.
Well, I would say this is definitely the best third. Iron Man 3 was not good.
Oh God, right.
This is the best standalone series, obviously, but it also. Right. Is this a Captain America movie? Then?
Well, that's why. That's what I was thinking about in my car on the way over.
Avengers
this would be a third? It's either a third Captain America movie or it's a third Avengers movie. So it's definitely the best third.
I think it's really. To me, I thought it was as much. I know it's not. You can't.
They could have just called it Marvel Civil War, though.
They could have.
Yeah,
I thought it was more a sequel to.
You made a great point right there.
Even though you could say it wasn't really a Captain America movie, I thought it was very much. Even though I guess this is kind of a contradiction, a sequel to Winter Soldier.
Well,
that was a Captain America film. I feel like it was a sequel to. It felt like a sequel to Winter Soldier, a continuation, even though it was an Avengers movie.
Well, because the thing is that. Civil War and Winter Soldier both kind of follow the same story.
Yeah, right.
It's not like
it's a continuation.
It's not like Winter Soldier happened and then this big intergalactic thing happened. It was it had all the things that
a lot of consequences from the previous movie.
I think there's enough of it that's specific to the Captain America story to make it a Captain America sequel.
There's a lot to give them credence.
At the same time, to Mark's point, if they could have cut a lot of that out. And just had a Marvel Civil War movie, it probably would have been a little bit tighter. Probably wouldn't have been dragging on as much in the beginning. And I don't know, maybe
Well, let's talk about the characters.
Super cut.
And then we'll kind of
just do a Marvel.
We'll kind of work
War.
in outward circles from there. Let's talk about Black Panther, the character who had, I guess, he had a large role in this movie, more so than I thought he would. Honestly,
I wonder if they're gonna storm him. Whereas
no.
Storm started off with the African accent, and then eventually Halle Berry dropped it.
The Russian accent, or whatever accent you would qualify it as, Eastern European.
For the Scarlet Witch.
Yes, Scarlet Witch is Eastern European. Actually, seemed a bit.
It was a little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit there, but not as much as Age of Ultron.
You can justify accents changing the more time you spend with people without the accent.
Or that young in a new country.
Right.
But you're saying Storm doesn't have that justification.
No, Storm was a full-on adult who, from one movie to the next, was super African accent to
X-Men to X-Men to, she sounded like, hey girl, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Black Panther had a very thick African accent in this film.
How do you make that work in a standalone movie?
And that's what I was thinking every single time he spoke. I'm like, well, that's going to be hard. It's like Bane having a solo film.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be that hard. I think if you look at it in the context of he grew up in Wakanda,
right?
He literally is a part of a royal family. That's like saying anybody who's in the royal family from London. It's like, you talk funny. You got to stop talking
funny.
Saying
Coming to America didn't work.
Yeah, Eddie, I was just, that's the first thought. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, Eddie Murphy did. Yeah, I can see it now. I'm back on board.
Yeah, no,
Murphy did a shitty African accent.
Well, and the thing is, like, it's not like it didn't seem like he was faking it. It didn't seem like he was stretching it.
It wasn't bad.
Exactly. And
well, he's a good actor.
Yeah. And I definitely
Boswick Chatham, whatever his name is.
Boswick Chatham. I definitely feel like he could do it. I definitely think that it's going to work out when they do eventually release.
So you don't think
film.
the accent?
No.
I think I think it will become not as thick as we go on closer to a solo film.
I think that it should actually delve deeper and be thicker. It should be
thicker.
Well, because he's going to deal with other. Hold on,
more African.
Wait, no.
We need more.
It should just be clicks.
There's no time. I'm doing Jamaican now.
The Russo brothers are just doing this stretching motion.
No, what I'm saying though is that they should have flashbacks,
like Professor Azbike.
And they're going to be dealing with like regular people from Wakanda, so their accents are going to be slightly thicker.
Although it seemed like all the scientists in Wakanda were white.
A little bit.
When they were helping out the Winter Soldier, I'm like, where are they right now? I'm like, oh, that's Wakanda? Because all the scientists are white.
We've never seen, plus we've never, and I'm glad you mentioned this. This is the first time we've seen the inside of Wakanda, this very technologically advanced nation, and we saw that the Winter Soldier is frozen in carbonite, very similar to the way that Empire Strikes Back ends, where you have a character who's basically on ice at the end of the film. You're not certain about their future. Cold ice.
Now, is anyone going to be surprised when the person who takes the whammy off of Winter Soldier's brain is going to be Doctor Strange?
That would be, I think that works perfectly.
Yeah. As soon, I'm like, he's like, until someone can fix my brain, I'm like, oh, remember that trailer I saw? There we go. I know who it's going to be.
See, those trailers serve to purpose. Plus, so now he's in Wakanda, and they have one thing we know about Wakanda is that they are rich in just nasty rich with vibranium.
Yeah,
right.
And that's what his old arm was made out of, I believe.
Yeah.
What was his old arm?
His new arm will be made out of.
That's right. So they'll be able to replace his arm.
No way that the Iron Man blast would have blown off a vibranium arm. Just wouldn't have happened.
Winter Soldier at the end of the film.
Excuse me. Actually,
for those of you who are listening to this and can't remember, wait, he lost an arm. He lost an arm at the end of the film with Tony Stark and Iron Man. He blew off his arm. Now I'm explaining.
Now you're explaining.
We're even there the whole time.
Delving right into that, I gotta say let's
talk about that last fight.
Think about that again. I love that. I just love how they turned it on you, and you're going, "Yep, you're fighting again. You guys hate each other." Again.
Yeah. Well,
I gotta. That's just one of my favorite parts of this movie.
I love the fact that I kept going back to the opening scene of 1990. I love that it's 1991 too. Like. No other. It's like 1980s. No, 1991.
Right.
That's the one thing I didn't like, though. One things I didn't like were the flashes on the screen to tell you where they were. They were too big.
Oh, I liked it.
I think they need to be bigger.
No, it kind of works with Moscow and London, but Cleveland. Cleveland took
very
me right
contemporary
out of
to have the big.
That was the biggest.
It was like a rap video.
That was the biggest booster for Cleveland that I've ever seen in the past decade. So, good for Cleveland.
It's as good as Super Bowl.
The cleave on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Very specific 1991. Kept on coming back to that, kept on mentioning that.
Well, it was also interesting because it also delved deeper into the whole shield, and it makes it seem like even Tony Stark's father was doing dirty business, because right before Bucky brutally murders him, he goes, Sergeant Barnes, and then bam, in his fucking face.
Yeah, it was great.
And that was again.
And you see, sorry.
Tony Stark's,
go ahead.
Tony
Stark's face just boiling with rage. It was just such a great thing.
It made more sense.
He was more mad that his mom got killed.
Right. And,
yeah, he's like, I don't care about my dad, but my mom.
I suppose I'm fine with how angry he got. I just didn't like, I suppose, the trope that, like, it had to do with one of his parents being killed. That's the only reason you can get Tony Stark.
Do you not like the 2 versus movies in back-to-back months had to do with mommies?
That's absolutely
when the name came up.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah, do you think Winter Soldier should have said that his mom's name was the same as Tony Stark's?
I would have.
When that happened, I'm like, Martha.
I would have preferred they kept in line with Tony Stark is still going to get Captain America and the Winter Soldier to bring him in, and that's the reason they're fighting. I kind of don't like that. Now we're buddies.
I stick with Mark. I like how it flipped back around.
I'm fine with it,
again.
and I like all the.
No, you're not.
But I do like. No, you're not. But I like the Zemo character because all the misdirection. You thought he was going this way, and then he would hit you with this thing. He was going for the Winter Soldiers, and he killed all the Winter Soldiers. Then he thought it was about this, and it's actually about this. So he was great. They kept you kind of like off balance the whole film. I
learned that Speck in German means bacon.
Bacon and black coffee.
I liked his sort of
my new diet.
Content feeling he had on his face when he's just sitting there going, "Yep, all right,
yeah,
I'm ready to go now. This is everything worked out for me."
I also thought it was really good when he was listening to the voicemail on his phone.
Yeah,
I like it. It didn't show up just once, because the first time
I wish it only had showed up once. I thought that was too telling when he was listening. I'm like, oh, this has something to do with his family. So it kind of, I like the reveal at the end was that, because the whole time Baron Zemo, because he's this comic villain, so you're like, right. What's his goal? What's his end game? And then just to have that just really human, because it's all about everything was about vengeance, all of it. And, it's not like I'm a genius and it was subtly, like literally Black Panther says, like everyone's engulfed in this vengeance. So, I'm glad that was at the end there just to reiterate it, but they threw it in earlier where I'm like, that's I kind of see where this is going.
I thought it was kind of funny because like he just committed this atrocity and he's like talking to his wife. He's like, oh yeah, should have seen Timmy. He was adorable. Like
voicemail.
I know, but I thought it was just funny. Like,
you said he was talking to his wife.
I apologize then. I'm very sorry.
So that didn't make any sense.
I know. That's why I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
That's why I'm sorry. But I thought it was very human that you saw the side that he still was a dad. Mm-hmm. And I thought it made it more interesting. Yeah.
I like that. Oh my God. If they would have gone the direction, I was fully expecting them to go the direction, I am a disciple of Red Skull. I'm like, that's what I'm like, good. They didn't go, so anything else they did as far as his motivations and the fact that they did something that was so human and worked so well is a bonus to me. The fact that he wasn't a disciple of Red Skull, I'm fine with. That's what I was fully expecting.
The fact that the only one who knew about it was Black Panther, or at the end is the only one who's. Should I go after that guy?
right. Everyone's fighting. It's like, but where did that guy go?
I thought it was the one thing that I didn't like, which I think you really gotta with movies like this. You have to if you nitpick any logic, then you start not appreciating it for what it is. But the fact that he's like, we found a wig and a mask. we found a Bucky Barnes wig and mask.
There was that scene. Like, it looks like they did some plastic surgery, wig and a mask. I'm like, oh, yeah, the technology is advanced to the point where you can get it pretty close.
You get the Friday, like, Tony Stark's in the helicopter going to it. It's like, oh yeah, they found this wig and mask. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to look at this.
It checks out. Yeah, they explained that away. I thought they could have come up with something a little more convincing than that. But they explained that away very, very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with that because they explain how Captain America's shield doesn't follow physics either.
Right.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man, I thought had a lot of good quips. I think just really quick about Spider-Man. I was afraid that his quippiness was getting to push the going past the line a little bit too much as far as being too meta and kind of making a farce of this whole entire somewhat grounded Marvel universe, just poking fun at everything and all. He's not Deadpool. I think Deadpool can get away with being just like so quippy and making a joke about everything. And I thought that Spider-Man walked right up to that line, but I don't think he ever crossed that line. I thought there were some quips that were close, but I thought he was still he was still really working.
I thought the suit looked awesome.
Yeah, the suit looked awesome. The powers really worked.
Yeah. The webbing looked great.
Yeah,
I'm glad that he develops the webbing again instead of even though in the movie Amazing Spider-Man, he's like, oh, it's a webbing that I develop. No, you're not. You ordered it. I saw you order it. I saw it come in UPS, and you put it in your little watch thing. It shot you in the face. You didn't make that. You're a liar.
I liked that there was like an old like Windows. No, it was a Mac computer that he had in his room.
I like that he had like kind of like he was like they gave him a very nuanced like hobbyist type of thing. Like his character is it was a character thing they gave him. That he likes to rummage and
his interplay with Robert Downey Jr. I thought was awesome. Great, and I'm so glad that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
so
that's perfect. Let's talk really quick about the Vision and Scarlet Witch separately, the relationship. Let's start first. I know you want to get a little sexy with Scarlet Witch, but let's start first about the Vision.
How great he is.
How great he is.
And he's wearing like Uncle Phil clothes. Like,
That's his thing.
He's like, well, I'm just around the house now. So
he's doing something with his hands, whether it's with the chess piece or papaprika.
Right.
Yeah.
Something's happening there.
It's wonderful. They dress him up in regular fine
so
clothes.
Well too. That joke, that pinch. He's like trying to decide what a pinch would be.
Right.
He was wonderful. I like that they wrote his character with kind of a pinch of Frasier Crane. Just like
I would say Niles.
Niles. Okay. I felt very much like, yeah, that's how you write this character. If I were writing Vision, that is the perfect way to write Vision as a character. And he is a perfect character as far as someone who can really get behind. He's more, I think he could beat Superman in a fight. I think he's more likable than Superman. I think he has a better sense of justice and good.
I think everybody's more likable than Superman.
You know, I think he's just, they pull off his character so well in this. He is not just this weird AI thing with a cape walking around. They really humanize as much. I can't believe I'm saying it. They really humanize the Vision in this film.
I like how he phased through the wall and they're like, we talked about this. He's like, well, the door is open. And I thought it's the same thing.
Well, I think it also showed the Scarlet Witch's relationship with the Vision because their back and forth play it seemed like a childhood romance. It seemed like something that was just blossoming and blooming. And I thought that was really good. Like it wasn't so heavy that you're like, oh, they're going to get together. But it was a good play.
Yeah, they were very subtle as far as their relationship.
They're subtle as fuck.
They were, that's right. But Vision I thought was fantastic. He is probably my favorite character in the history of film. He's just so wonderful. He doesn't know what.
Fuck off.
Atticus Finch, fuck you.
Take a seat.
Don't need you.
Vision.
Mr. Smith goes watched in. Nope.
What a hack.
George Bailey, get the fuck out.
I like
it's Vision's time.
I liked it when he phased through Giant Man during that point. Yeah. And he's just like, did someone phase through me?
He's like, a guy went into me.
He's wonderful.
Paul Rudd is the best part of this movie.
Yeah, teeny Paul Rudd in Iron Man's suit. It's your conscience.
He was so good. Vision was so good. Scarlet Witch was, I thought, very well done in this film. One character who's really starting to grow on me is Hawkeye. Clint Barnes.
Did you say Hot Guy?
Hawkeye. It's a joke from the comics. They call him Hawkeye, but some guy with a thick accent calls him Hawkeye because he doesn't understand that it's Hawkeye.
Are you making that?
I thought you were talking about the Winter Soldier.
No, there's a comic. There's some guy who doesn't understand in the comic in this most recent run. Who did who wrote the most recent run of Hawkeye? It was very well claimed. You know what I'm talking about.
They don't call him Hawkeye.
Matt Fraction.
I don't think they call him Hawkeye.
No, they don't call him. Don't they?
Everyone calls him Clint. He introduces himself as Clint.
That's right.
No one calls him Hawkeye.
All right. Hey, my name's Clint. I don't care.
Well, Matt Faction's comic that you just said, some guy calls him Hawkeye, and I think that's wonderful. So I'm just going to call him that. So he's growing on me. I think the fact that he's kind of a retired family man, the jokes he has, I think are working better. At first, he kind of annoyed me. I thought he was really very much a fluff filler character. Now I think he's really rounded out and really kind of worked into his character.
one of the better parts of Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, set him up.
Him starting to grow as a character.
Like, oh, he's actually a character.
But I mean, he was a pretty big character in the first Avengers film as well, though.
He was hypnotized a lot.
Really there, okay, he's just there in that one.
No, I think that point is bad.
Good enough.
Sean Brennan.
Good enough.
But he's growing on me, I think.
Yeah, well, they obviously didn't want him for any more Bourne movies.
That's right. No. As we saw in the trailers.
I mean, I think that all the characters were rounded out very well.
Oh, sure.
And I think that there was...
I can't believe that they pulled this off.
Right? With the amount of characters they had, there's always that fear of like, well, this character isn't going to be, given enough, enough lines or whatever lines they do get. And I think it was interesting that they talk about Thor and the Hulk. I was honestly expecting the Hulk to come out of that van. For like a quick second. God. For a quick second, I thought it was going to be him, but it's fucking Paul Rudd. I definitely think all the characters were well-rounded, and they explained off Thor and the Hulk pretty well, as in just they're MIA. We don't know where anybody is at this point.
They could be in space on a Hawk world, having a Hawk war. Who knows?
Hawkeye world.
That's right. I say Hawk. I haven't meaning to say Hulk. It's very late. Super Friends, Super Show night.
Nice.
On a Hawk world. You could have a Hulk on a Hawk world. There's no laws against it. But
that's true. And with everything happening here, with all the movies setting up to this, it wasn't like Hulk not being there or Thor not being there was that big of a...
No, you didn't need them at all. If anything, I think this movie was better for it. I think Hulk kind of messes things up. I think he kind of messes the balance a little bit because he tips the scales too much because he's just this big force who just smashes, and I think he kind of just throws off.
You just said that the Vision could beat Superman, and you don't think he could beat the Hulk?
He's kind of elegant. He's kind of elegant. He phases. He doesn't really. He's not just in.
Answer the question. You don't think the Vision could beat the Hulk?
Third degree Mike over here.
God, I'm really getting it over here. I'm really pulling on my polo shirt, my Vision style polo shirt. I like this. I really liked. It was one of the earlier scenes in this film. So going back to Vision again, my new favorite character in all film. When they're talking about the Sokovia, whatever it's called, Accord, which is a beautiful name for a document. The Sokovia Accord, it was beautiful. When they're discussing it, the Avengers, and they cut to him, he's like, I have some calculations I'd like to share. And he's very much sitting like Mark McLean in the chair with his legs crossed, and he's just looking, he's sitting there. I'm like,
some with his fingers again.
He's wonderful. I think
but his justification, he has a very analytical justification to it, and then he just sticks with it until he doesn't. But for the most part of the movie, he's just going, this is pretty black and white to me,
right?
And even if I like Scarlet Witch,
which I do, which I totally do.
I was very distracted.
I totally like you.
Totally paralyzed a guy because of this.
No, and that's what I liked about it.
Scarlet Witch, I'm gonna let you finish, but Sokovia Accords, one of the best Accords of all time.
Let me ask a question: is the Vision to blame for Rhodey's paralysis?
Yes. I mean, he clearly shot the beam.
He's an AI perfect being. He should be able to...
Well, he said he was distracted, which he was distracted by Scarlet Witch. So I think that's him becoming more... her boobs.
Her big old boobies.
I think that's him becoming more...
Human.
Well, and he's gonna... And... they kind of talk about it earlier where he's trying to
figure out his gem.
Figure out the gem and how it controls it. So maybe he is gaining more control, and that was just in having more control of himself, he has less control of his power, and it took out Rhodes.
So you think he is responsible? So you could say Vision paralyzed a guy. Could you say that?
Well. Yeah, but Scarlet Witch killed a bunch of Wakandans,
but who cares about those guys?
And Captain
Rodney
America kicked a car into
whatever
a dude,
his name
which was awesome.
Yeah,
that was the best in the beginning when he kicks the car into the dude.
The choreography.
I thought that was gonna be a water truck.
That was.
The Vision he shot it's like shooting an arrow. You just shot an arrow, and if your target drops just suddenly. Are you to blame for that?
So you're saying it's no one's fault. It just so happened. Well, he missed.
I'm saying it is Vision's fault.
Right.
He literally, he's the reason for him.
My point is, I don't think he
disabled.
got enough blame for paralyzing Rhodey.
Yeah, considering how pissed Tony Stark was
it everyone
from
else?
A brainwashed guy killing his parents. The fact that Vision missed, paralyzed his best friend.
Right?
He's just like, you can still live here.
That's actually a really good point that didn't get brought up back in the film. It's like, oh, you just paralyzed my best friend. Yeah, you can live here.
Also, I like the subtlety of let's keep talking about Vision. Let's make this the Vision hour. I like that they didn't drive it over your head. He's wearing clothes. He's wearing regular clothes. Here's a comment about why regular clothes now. He just wears regular clothes. And I'm like, yeah, he does. And he doesn't.
They're well-fitting and just preppy. He's just like, this is what he likes to wear.
He looks great. Oh, I love that movie. But I was impressed with this movie. I just, again, had a hard time with the 1991 VHS being the reason that Iron Man. I was kind of let down by the fact that was the reason why Iron Man and Captain America fought.
Well, you knew just from the trailers that they were going to fight again.
Yeah,
because you knew.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, I'm like,
the setting it was in.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a bigger reason for them to fight as far as the motivations were concerned. It was fine, but certainly better than Batman vs Superman, where like, you have an hour, go fight him. Hey, my mom's been captured. I've been fighting, and just it was.
I don't know though. I think with how brutal it was, I think really justifies it to me.
Yeah, right. The brutal murder of his mother and the father.
The look on Tony Stark's face when he's seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
a lot of it was because I was trying to remember, and I guess I do kind of remember in Winter Soldier where he saw that Winter Soldier killed.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't remember that either.
It was in.
Like, oh, he does know. So when he was told it, did you know? I go.
You're learning for the first time. You're as shocked as Tony Stark.
I think it's briefly, if I remember correctly, I think it's briefly shown when Black Widow and Captain America break into that Hydra facility with the guy with his face on the screen, and it's the old SHIELD facility, or the SSR or whatever.
Oh, Zola. We're talking about Zola.
Yeah.
Zola. Shut up.
So I think it's briefly seen there where they're just showing like the kills of the Winter Soldier and Howard.
Oh, his name appears.
Yeah.
But it's such a flash mention, and Captain America's like, I knew, and part of me was trying to like actually remember that. So now I feel like I have to go back for that one clip.
Another reason to buy the Blu-ray, now available on Blu-ray. Special cutscenes. Everyone loves the Winter Soldier.
We're not getting any money for that.
All the murders of the Winter Soldier and all its glorious brutality.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good point then from Sean, because if you're thinking if it's such a big scene, the audience should be in on it as well.
Well, I mean,
and know that Captain America, when he says, I did know.
Well,
that sparks this whole thing. You should go, he did know. This is fucked up. Not this whole thing of like, did he? When did I? I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, one picture.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm just like, oh, okay. And then I wasn't going to question the movie at that point. I'm just like, you got more to show me.
I think it's an opportunity.
They should have had a scene where they reminded you that happened, and they reminded that Captain America did know.
Right.
Well, it was so offhand. He's like,
it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't think we need more. But I agree.
I'm saying
I agree.
You could cut out a different scene, Sean.
I can't think of a single one. The scene where the Vision's preparing dinner. You need that scene.
You can leave in all the Vision scenes, right? Maybe cut out one of the scenes where they're bickering back and forth about signing a piece of paper.
Come on, they needed to make sure people knew about that. They needed to show off their new pens.
Well, let me ask you a question.
They were old pens.
They were fancy
Mike,
pens.
What's the best way to build a big match for a wrestling pay-per-view? The contract signing. So I think you need every single one of those contract signings to sell the match.
Right, but no table was ever flipped over.
That's right.
Scene.
Can I? Well, in Thor, he flips over the table and he finds out that he's not going to be king.
Okay, that's true. But that's true. This was not Thor.
It's a big table.
Thor, this was not.
Speaking, I know that, we're talking about Captain America, but
right.
I have not watched wrestling, and I'm fine with it.
No, I am too. This is wonderful. WrestleMania is over with. I guess things are going okay. A lot of injuries as far as I'm aware. As far as the wrestling scene, they just late breaking news. They just released 2 pretty big stars from the WWE. Damian Sandow and Wabar has been released from WWE.
Wade Barrett, everyone knew he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's been rumored for a while, but then what a shame. He had so much potential.
Sandow, but the thing about Sandow is that everyone liked him. Like,
I guess he failed some tests as far as their.
It was an IQ test because
was not an IQ test. That's right. That's right. Smart. So yeah, wrestling, not really missing much there. But this film, I thought, really intrigues me as far as what they're going to do with Infinity War now. These directors, they can get away with so much. They're able to do so much as far as filmmaking is concerned.
Everything's going to be leading up to Infinity War now, except for maybe the origins. Like,
right.
Doctor Strange's origin probably won't have much to do with the Infinity War, but I guarantee the next Thor movie and will have, because that's where Thor kind of left off to kind of find out what's going on with.
They're calling it Ragnarok. So Thor is going to be in space or in Asgard or wherever realm that is considered space,
and the Hulk's going to be there.
Is going to be there. That's where they are hanging out, and
they're just riding in like a Volkswagen, just like driving around space.
Little road trip. And Thanos might show up there, or in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2 is coming up. So you have a lot of movies.
Do you think they're going to have Thanos, like, just to kind of, when he first shows up on the scene, just kind of to put the exclamation point onto what badass he is, just like knock the fuck out of the Hulk, like just knock him out?
Just put a big sleeper hold on him.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't the Infinity Gauntlet
put him up to the
F5? Doesn't that warp reality too? Like it warps.
It can. It can do anything you need it to do. It's like a Dragon Ball.
Well,
when you have all 7.
Well, okay. So my only gripe about the Scarlet Witch is that she is the strongest character besides the Vision, because she can.
Besides the Vision, who is my new favorite character?
Because she can literally warp reality.
Not in this. Not in this world.
So I'm curious what she can actually do with her power.
It's all telekinesis. It's just all moving things.
Well, because I feel like her powers are still new to her, just like how Tom is, still new at being Peter. Yeah. Like how Peter's only been Spider-Man for
6 months.
For 6 months.
Right.
So I really want to see where they're going.
I like how he defeatedly said Spider-Man in that scene too. He's like,
Spider-Man.
What are you, the
Spider-Boy?
Spider-Man.
No, it was so well done. I'm so glad that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in Spider-Man Homecoming.
When does that movie come out?
Oh, God, 2017.
Nice.
Yeah, 17 or 18.
I hope there's just like a whole scene where he's just constantly hitting on his Aunt May. Like he's talking to Peter, but hitting on his Aunt May.
Oh, okay.
The whole time.
Let's take some odds.
Was going
let's take some odds right now.
Really
what are the chances
it was getting incestual
that Tony Stark goes on a date with Aunt May in Spider-Man Homecoming?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
No, I don't think it happens.
You don't think there's...
Beautiful, though. That'd be great.
That would be
I like how
wonderful
they're
children.
writing off that Gwyneth Paltrow does not want to do these movies anymore.
Yeah, but they did mention her a lot for a character who is done with the... I know, it's a big part of his character.
Yeah, it feeds into why Tony's... Why he's so down in the dumps.
Sad but it works, though. It works. Right. And I definitely think that... just kind of like saying, like she doesn't want to be here, she literally doesn't want to work with Marvel, and she doesn't want to work with Tony. So I think it's
Marvel's down in the dumps.
I wonder if they'll do a just in one of the movies, just as a throwaway, they'll do like an invitation to Happy Hogan and Pepper Potts' wedding, because they got married in the comic books, right? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
I think so.
All right, I was just giving you guys the benefit of the doubt. That did happen. I
Happy
know
Hogan
it
has been brought back into the fold, though. What's the name of the actor who played Happy Hogan? He's the big guy. Jon Favreau.
Favreau?
Monica's boyfriend, who did a mixed martial arts
also directed,
and Friends.
He also directed.
That's what I know. Am I the ultimate fighting champion yet? Then I must not stop.
That was Jon Favreau's biggest role.
That's what he's best known for.
I definitely thought it was...
Being Pete from...
Pete Becker from Friends.
I definitely thought it was strange that Tony Stark's like mind gets changed off of like one woman's like confronting him about like her son's death. It's like, my one son's dead. It's like, but you do understand that like New York City was destroyed.
Yeah.
And
I'm not in this whole, like, there's a word going around called victim blaming, which isn't this. I think sometimes
it's
people.
Phrase, not a word.
Oh, you're right. Thanks, Mark. It's just, no, I think it's hyphenated. I think it's one. No, I'm kidding. It's a phrase. Where was I? I don't like those scenes in movies. I don't like when people are irrationally, like, you can't step outside of how this is affecting you for one moment to see, oh wait, there were a ton of fucking robots trying to destroy the city, and this guy was trying to stop it, and then your son died. That doesn't make him a murderer. Like, we're like, you murdered my son.
It
I wish she would just be like, nuh-uh.
It was definitely the one point in the film that I'm like, in this superhero film, I think that was the part where I'm kind of like, I'm kind of not believing it, because, like, he was an arms dealer. Like, he created weapons for the longest of times, and shouldn't he be sad about that when Stark, bombs?
He's past that. That's Iron Man 1.
He was. I mean,
That's
he was
Iron Man
sad
1,
about
man.
that in Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
Well, it is tough because you can't be what you're talking about is a very complex type of feeling where you can't, to blame one side or blame the other side, but you are talking about also this extreme thing where it's robots taking a giant piece of land. So it's hard for Marvel to kind of stay in this grounded universe, at the same time have these human emotions, while at the same time doing things like what happened.
Well, it's like
when you got to give a robot, human emotions, you got to cut the rest out.
It's like everyone's favorite show that I'm starting to not like anymore, The Flash, where exactly what I said was going to happen is now Zoom's killing everybody in The Flash, and he gave up his powers like a fucking
Zoom
moron.
did?
No, The Flash gave up his powers, and now all these people are directly dying because of The Flash because he didn't want to see Wally die.
Wally's gonna be a very important character, so I wouldn't want to see him.
Yeah, well, did you see the last Flash?
I did. He put himself in that electric thing. He's like, zap me, and then he gets zapped at the end,
and then he disintegrates, and they hit Wally with the Speed Force.
What do you want to have happen?
I want it to get canceled.
Wait, so
you just want, like, he gets zapped, he gets turned into a dust, and the fine dust and powder just spells out canceled on the floor.
I'm just so done with it. Like, I loved that show the first season, and I loved it the first half of this season, and then I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, they've got it kind of
look,
away.
You can't have a good Flash while Gotham's still around. You gotta get rid of Gotham first.
Gotham's the worst. They're get all the villains. Like, I think they're run out of villains because they do a villain a week.
Yeah.
It's like, I know Batman has a lot of villains, but this is before he's even Batman. Why don't you make up some new, different villains pre-Batman?
Why don't they make up like a bully just to like bully him?
Batman?
Yeah. He's a little kid.
They did. And then, and Alfred, he's like, Alfred, teach me how to fight. And they go to his house and he punches him in the face. And Alfred's like, let's get pizza.
Is Alfred in that? Is Alfred in Gotham still like really gruff and like, Master Wayne?
John Pertwee's son. What's his name? Sean Pertwee. I should know that because that's my name. It's Sean Pertwee, who I think is a delight. The son of a doctor. Doctor Who, the third Doctor. Bet you didn't know that.
Start using real sentences.
When you took that Doctor Who comic from the table today, I'm just like, of course you did.
That was a terrible comic.
Mark, do you watch Flash or Gotham at all?
I do not pay attention to television shows other than shitty Bravo shows that I watch with my girlfriend now. But
Good.
I like baseball, and other than that, it doesn't contribute to this conversation whatsoever. But yes, it's hard for me to get into the television shows for superheroes, so I don't have a lot to add here. So
I would recommend, it's on Netflix, watch the first season of Flash.
Yeah.
Although I would not recommend it because then you would start liking it and then you'll be right where I am right now.
Watch the second season of Daredevil. The first season.
No, don't watch that either. Don't watch any Daredevil.
Let me see. Let me recommend a show to torture you. Watch the first season of Heroes, and then expect. And then, like, all right, season 2.
We used to watch.
What is that? A callback from like a decade ago?
Oh, that was
Heroes. Was
so
season
good.
2 of Heroes was directly affected by that writer's strike.
Oh yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, that's it's tough for me to get into those shows just because of the continuous.
Well, it's a commitment.
You have to pay attention and keep watching.
You have to have attention span, and you really have to bunker down and actually watch these shows.
Well, speaking of attention span and bunkering down or hunkering down, I'm not sure what's.
Down. I think I got that wrong.
No, that's fine. I should have corrected.
I'm glad you stuck with that.
No, someone has to
bunkering.
check facts. And speaking of checking facts, let's. I think we've covered a lot of any other extra thoughts about the actual movie before we jump onto the extra bonus scenes at the end, and then kind of move on to what where we go now with the Marvel Cinematic. Any extra thoughts on the movie before we kind of jump into the bonus scenes?
No,
it was good.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
But
good.
Again,
good movie.
I was a little bit in the beginning. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, do it.
It takes more.
There's a movie there that could have been better.
Yes. But I think I say that about a lot of movies.
I thought it was great.
I think it's nitpicking on this one just because of how, with everything going on, with all the craziness going on there, and the fact they were even coming close to pulling it off.
You're right. You're right again.
I was exhausted after that airport scene, honestly. Everything that happened after that was sort of a blur.
I wanted to pause it and like go have a smoke.
Yeah,
that
was too much. It was so wonderfully done, but after that airport scene, that was sort of it for me, kind of.
I will say that during the shaky cam fight scenes, it reminded me of Kill Bill Volume 1 with the Tarantino fight scene, because there was like beat, new shot.
I was hoping to see the Abomination in that watery prison.
So everyone's in prison now.
Not anymore. They got everyone out.
Oh, that's right. Captain America shows up in the bonus scene.
And then he left like a burner.
That's not even a bonus scene. That's literally the end of the movie.
He mailed a burner phone, though. That's the funny part. He's like mailing a burner phone to you. So he's like, call the Avengers.
Call me if you ever need me in this phone from 1991. When Winter Soldier killed your parents.
I didn't see a chart. Did he include a charger in that FedEx box? Like, how was he supposed to charge to keep that phone charged?
No. That was a great Stanley
for 30 minutes.
That was a great Stanley cameo to go to Rhodey's joke and leave.
Yeah, Rhodey's paralyzed. Yeah, it's really an Empire that Strikes Back type of situation. Everyone's at their lowest point now, and we got to move forward.
It also is very strange. Like, you paralyzed a main character. At least in Iron Man's world, like, so.
But when he's in the suit, don't you think he'll be able to?
That'll be fine.
So is he just gonna like constantly wear like suit pants like all the time?
Hey,
no, he's got those glowy
pants,
glowy legs, glowy pants.
Is this the last?
Fine.
He's gonna be running like Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
that's what War Machine's
Is this the last that we see of Chris Evans in a Captain America?
No.
You think there's going to be a Captain America 4?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You think there is going to be Captain America 4?
There's going to be so many, like, after they get done and they blow their wad with the last Avengers Infinity War one, they're going to have to start recasting.
Oh, sure.
Well, I mean, the good thing is the character the actor who plays Bucky signed on, I think I read, for 9 films.
Oh, so he's a dreamboat.
Right?
He is a dreamboat.
So with that greasy hair.
He'll take over as Captain America.
I mean, that makes sense.
I was expecting Bucky to get the shield in this film or something.
No one gets a shield. Tony's like, you leave that shield here.
And he's like,
I was like, that's a good point.
It's government. It's all government property. And my bird suit too. Yeah. My bird suit's government property as well.
Two friends in middle school getting into a fight and saying, leave that N64 controller. That's mine. No, you gave it to me. Nope. My mom bought it for me. That's still mine. Leave it there. No, that's a good point.
Yeah, it was tough to watch.
Give me that copy of Shaq Fu. My copy of Shaq Fu.
Before you're leaving.
Okay. It was good. They walked away. It wasn't one of these things where they kind of built this artificial hatred towards one another. Throughout the film, I thought Tony Stark and Captain America, they were like...
He seemed to have everyone's best interest.
Yeah, that's right. They never turned Tony Stark into like the bad guy like they did in this in the Civil War comic book.
And they had the iconic Civil War comic book thing of the holsters against the shield.
Yeah, I'm like... That's a cover.
Yeah, they still kept everyone good guys, which is, I think, really difficult to do because you need sort of a bad guy, and they never.
They made Batman a bad guy.
Yeah,
he was
right.
He was a bad guy. He was doing bad things.
Yeah, no.
Everyone was.
His motivation was to kill somebody. Yeah. Like that's really.
Yeah, I mean, but let's not talk about that film.
Speaking of films that are coming up now, in the future, you know what's coming out in July? Would you believe me if I told you that Ghostbusters is coming out in July?
Probably. And you know what? I'm not going to go see Ghostbusters.
There's only one thing that's good about this Ghostbusters reboot is they brought back Ecto Cooler from Heisey.
That is
people
true.
have brought that to my attention. Oh, also, Apocalypse, X-Men Apocalypse is coming out next week or the week after.
Do you know what?
The more I see of it, though,
I'm not super stoked to see.
Yeah,
I'm just like I'll
see it, but
I think Days of Future Past was really good, and this one it just seems like I don't know. I'm not super stoked to see it. Maybe I'm worn out.
Maybe, but also maybe Days of Future Past had such kind of a nice little
button
on it. That it was fairly
the old cast and the new cast. There was
all
really
the timeline stuff was finally a giant mess was finally,
and now it's going to be back because they're like, obviously everyone's going to be fine because Wolverine woke up in the present time, and now you're going back to the 80s.
Right.
When it's like, okay, so everyone's here.
Right.
So everyone's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Days of Future Past ended in modern day, and that's like, okay, so this is the official timeline. Now we're ready to cut all this shit out again. But nope, no, we're going back to the past.
Marty! We got to go back to the...
Ivan Ooze.
Sorry.
Actually, he looks less like Ivan Ooze than he did originally.
Oh, they've made a big point in trying to get away from it. Oh, speaking of Ivan Ooze,
you're so excited.
Power Rangers. The Power Rangers costumes. Let's talk about that a little bit as we're wrapping up. Power Rangers costumes. Just spit it out if you got
symbiotes. Those are symbiote costumes.
Yeah.
Because I was reading something and it was a little blurb and it's like they come and like attach to their bodies. And I'm like, that makes more sense.
I think they look like remember when there was a Power Rangers movie?
And they were just wearing
Ivan Ooze?
They were just wearing plastic toy
I think they look
of themselves.
Like those.
I think they
shiny.
They look bad though.
I think they look bad. Really bad.
Yeah, but for a Power Rangers movie?
Yeah, I think they look fine.
I was hoping for more with this Power Ranger movie. There's no reason
there'd be more like neon colors.
Wait, for more.
Why?
All right, here's why.
Here's why.
They know, hey, this group of fans are now in their 20s and 30s. Let's make a movie that maybe attracts to the younger people, but let's also kind of scale it a little bit more towards the older people who grew up with the show, who are in their 30s and 40s.
See, this is the internet wrestling fan right here, who wants the kid thing.
I want The Rock.
I want everything to be the way I like it.
At every WrestleMania.
Look, there have been numerous Power Rangers since the first Power Rangers.
I am aware. Oh, Super Sentai, you mean? Yeah, I know. Don't try to give me a school lesson on schools.
Well, what I'm saying is, keep your pants on, kid. It's just a film. It has nothing to do with the show.
You're just a film dad.
Except Rita.
Is there a green Power Ranger in the...
No.
There will be.
The original 5.
If the green Power Ranger in the movie has a vest, then I'll be okay with it.
He has a vest.
He'll be in the movie, but it's going to be a weird,
like, vest, whatever it is.
muted colored,
I thought
vest.
Vision had a vest. He had a sweater vest.
He had a sweater vest.
The Vision. The symbiotic type of costumes they have in this Power Ranger film, it didn't work in Green Lantern when the suit was kind of like this alien symbiotic thing.
But that was because it was all CGI.
Stuff.
This doesn't look like it's all CGI.
Do you want to take anything from Green Lantern?
One thing to go back to the Ghostbusters thing really quick.
I'll take Ryan Reynolds.
One thing to go back to the Ghostbusters movie really quick. Did you see the fan cut of the Ghostbusters trailer?
Maybe.
It's much shorter. They do the original music. They cut out the 30 years ago. And I have to admit, because I think the trailer and the movie look like shit, but it was a better trailer. It was,
I mean, perfect definition of poorly marketed movie.
Oh my god!
Even if it's gonna be a bad movie, that was a horrible way of showing.
Right.
The marketing for this film. I was telling,
whatever it is.
I was talking to Sean Brennan in the theater.
I try to never do that.
The marketing. You have Suicide Squad, which is due out in August, so a month after. They've had a number of different posters they put out, different versions. The marketing campaign is very vast and very, very diverse. It exists. Like, they've had a number of different trailers with different themes and focusing on different characters. The only thing they've put out for this Ghostbusters movie is just that symbol.
Well,
I think one trailer.
Scrambling at this point.
Oh my god!
Because there's no other. It was so poorly received.
And Paul Feig is reacting like, how if you make fun of someone, or if I'm like, if I were like, Sean Dwyer, you're a blonde idiot, you'd be like, well, that doesn't make any sense because I'm not blonde, so whatever. But if I said something mean about you that you felt about yourself, how you would get more defensive and you would react. Like Paul Feig, people are like, this movie sucks, you're doing a terrible job. And he's like, no, I'm not. I mean, like, he's hitting back at fans on Twitter. Wow. But I think it comes down to that thing where things that you know are true about yourself, you're more sensitive and you'll react more harshly towards. Yeah. So I think he knows this movie's shit.
Yes. Well, I think it was just a bad concept.
Well, I mean, to start, so the original trailer that they released starts 30 years ago, and it's from what I initially thought. I'm like, oh, this is going to be like 30 years after. They're all going to be like somehow related. Nope, not at all. Like, there's no reason to put that in there. It was just kind of like a nostalgia trip to be like, remember that movie 30 years ago?
I can see the pitch meeting at the studio where like, all right, they're going to be all girls, and everyone's just like, yeah, and everyone's high-fiving for 30 minutes.
And that's the only thing. They're like, what else? All girl.
That's all we got.
That's all we got. Okay, all right, we'll come up with more. What is that, lunch? Lunch is here. Yeah. And that was...
Jimmy John's is here. Jimmy John. Ooh, Jimmy John's.
And that's where they left it. I think an all-female cast and a different take on Ghostbusters is a great start. And that's but they left it at the start.
That's where they stopped. And then they just stopped. Like, left it to the interns to write.
If it's something interesting,
right?
And the simple fact of it being females is not interesting.
Well, Mark,
if there's an interesting reason for it.
Mark and I were talking about this, since he's my brother and we do speak outside of this, we were talking about like why sometimes movies with a female lead seem really forced or patronizing. When there are other movies where it's more organic and it makes more sense. And we were talking about basically about the Alien franchise, where Sigourney Weaver was the, in the second movie, it was basically an action movie that she was the star of, and there was no backlash to it. Mm-hmm. But we were saying basically because the first movie, it was a continuation of the story. In the first movie, she was the lead, but that was more of a horror movie. Right. And in the horror genre, where people are a lot more used to seeing, more accustomed to seeing a female lead. So that kind of but something more natural like that instead of, just doing it to do it where it feels patronizing.
I'm fine with it, but like, it almost seems like they're doing it just to do it. Just to have an all-female Ghostbusters
it definitely seems that way. It definitely there's no sense from what we've been given as an audience to view. There's no sense of like this all makes sense. It's just kind of like you want women, here you go.
So do we. You want women.
Yeah, and then there's no jokes that landed. Right. It didn't seem funny. There didn't seem like a good setup to it. Right. They blew their wad with like all these CGI ghosts, and it doesn't look scary.
And you're not seeing as big of a backlash for like Rogue One, who has a female lead. Right.
Exactly.
But the trailer looks really good, and the movie looks really good, and it's not just all women to be the same. Yeah,
yeah.
Which is all. Yeah, that's.
It feels like that's
trying to fill this demand that didn't exist there. No one's sitting there going, you know what's wrong about Ghostbusters? No females. Like,
yeah.
So if there was that sort of want there, then there would have been this sort of, it wouldn't have been such a backlash. But no one was sitting there going, we need to get more females in Ghostbusters.
But I would say the backlash probably isn't, I think it's a multiple of things. I don't think it's just because it's all women. I think it's more because it's so unneeded. Like, no one wanted, it's not even the point of saying, do you know what Ghostbusters needs is, no one's saying,
such a beloved franchise.
Yeah, no one's saying, do you know what Ghostbusters needs is a reboot. We need a new Ghostbusters with a lot of people.
Were screaming for 10 years.
No, they were screaming for a third movie with the original characters.
Or at least a continuation. Anything regarding Ghostbusters. Right. Mm. And it's such a beloved franchise and people wanted it, but then it's been almost 10 years since that whole thing, the steam pretty much ran out of that thing. And people are sitting here going, okay, I guess we'll have Ghostbusters.
When you say it like that, it feels like they're just doing it to be able to like keep the title, like they were doing with Spider-Man.
I just think Sony wants a franchise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they keep hoping and praying, but the problem is the people that they bring on just aren't capable of making something.
Such a better way to do a Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, there's like 1,000 different ways you can
get a fucking good writer. Like just get with two writers, one who can write the entire script and one who can add jokes.
Is there any world where you see where a reboot was the right move for Ghostbusters movie?
Yeah, I could, I could see this. I could see this working. I like these. I
think you had to stick in the same universe as.
I think you had to stick in the same universe. I think that's the cardinal sin right now. I think a reboot in terms of a fresh new cast, female or male, doesn't matter to me. I like the fact that it's an all female cast. But I think you had to stick in the same universe. I think it had to be a continuation 30 years later. Very little to no.
How the trailer started.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay.
That's why we're on the right track.
That's why I got excited.
And here's what I'll say about if you're going to do an all-female Ghostbusters, this, with the exception of maybe Leslie Jones, who's just doing like
angry,
really weird racist character.
Yeah. But Kate McKinnon, I love Kate. She's the funniest person on Saturday Night Live.
Kristen Wiig
Kristen Wiig, I love. Melissa McCarthy, I could give a take. I'm kind of sick of her shtick right now.
Yeah. But she doesn't seem like she's playing this big wacky character in this film anyway.
Right.
So,
they gave all that to Leslie Jones, which I don't know. It just seems to me
it seems like people are being possessed by ghosts and they're like doing.
I just think it looks stupid.
I'm like, oh, that's stupid.
They just took the worst of what they had as a film. Like, because when you make a trailer, you're supposed to invite people in. You're supposed to be like, I want to see that. And nothing about that film, except the 30 years later.
Oh, I will say my dad laughed at it.
Oh, well, that's good.
So
because of how bad it was?
My dad, he laughed at it. He legitimately thought it was funny.
Well, that's something came out of it.
So
I'm just blown away.
They
the
made
film
this
comes
movie
out.
For my father.
I'm blown away that it comes out in 2 months.
He only goes to
he's
James
gonna go
Bond
to
movies.
he's gonna go to this one. He's gonna be like, I enjoyed that.
If it's not a James Bond movie, my dad's not gonna go.
I'm just blown away.
500,000 dislikes on YouTube though.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I can't even begin to project what I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is going to be at this stage. I think it's just.
I don't think. Do you know what? I think it'll probably be better.
It'll be lower on IMDb than it will be on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I think Rotten Tomatoes. I think there's going to be a lot of, as much as like, for as many. As soon as it came out, I said I'm looking at this movie as a movie, and I'm looking at the trailer. And I don't like the jokes. I don't like where it's hitting. Now, there are the fringe people who just are going to hate it because it's all women.
Yeah.
But there's also the fringe of people who are going to defend it and say they love it just because it's all women. So that's a wash to me.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to see a lot more reviewers, who in this day and age are afraid of any type of
being called
social backlash.
Right, exactly. I hear that.
So I think you're going to see a lot more positive reviews for it. And it's also it's a weekend going up against nothing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're setting it up.
But I don't know how much longevity you'll have because you have Suicide Squad right after that. You have Star Trek right after that.
But I'm saying it's going to be
you have Independence Day.
Right.
Which is another movie, which I think the trailer actually wasn't that bad. It hit on a few nostalgic notes. I'm not saying it was good,
but it's a continuation of the story.
But it's a
not
continuation.
A reboot.
As long as it has Jeff Goldblum, that's all I care about.
I think that's all you need.
And
diving, and so we're excited about what direction the Ghostbusters franchise is going. And real quick before we sign off, DC on the other side of the pond, the DC cinematic universe, they have given Ben Affleck a promotion.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? He's the only person with any accolades on his resume. He is the executive producer overseeing Justice
Eric
League.
Bischoff.
He's like Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, right.
He's gonna start wearing that leather jacket, coming down on a motorcycle, and then it's just gonna go to hell.
One goal is to put Marvel out of business.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Well, I'd like
He's
to.
He's gonna give in the movies. They're gonna just stop and give the spoiler endings to Marvel movies
before you even try it.
Oh my
Infinity War, yawn. Infinity War Part 2, double yawn.
Yeah, that'll fill the seats.
Yeah, that's gonna put some butts in the seats.
They're gonna give Benedict Cumberbatch the lead character in Doctor Strange.
That's gonna be your Doctor Strange. Yeah. Give me a break.
Spot on, Tony Schiavone. So,
with a JR at the end of that one.
But yeah, Ben Affleck, I think this is any change away from Zack Snyder, I think, is a good change. I think Zack Snyder is Jack Snyder could even be a
jackass.
Oh my
jackass.
God.
I think Zack Snyder
change.
is just floating around this world where he's still in complete control, and everyone at DC or at Warner Brothers is like, what do we do?
Right.
Man.
Let's
Directors are leaving. People are like rumored to leave, and
What's weird? We're talking about Batman v Superman. Before we delve into Ben Affleck's role or his responsibilities going forward, but Batman v Superman, the first hour, did you guys really hate it though?
I didn't hate the
loved
first
the
hour
first
that
hour.
much.
No, I think we've talked
right.
extensively
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the movie, but
Sorry, I'm new.
we're
It's definitely fine.
You don't have to.
it's not as bad as the reviews are, but it's a mess.
It's like a
and now
40
if you
or
compare
50
it,
on Rotten
if you
Tomatoes.
compare it to
Civil War.
this movie,
yeah,
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, like, it's a Batman film, just like how this is a Captain America film. Like,
I would have loved to see Ben Affleck's Batman in Civil War. That would have been perfect.
He just punches Tony
So we
Stark.
gotta
and
hope for these movies
blows him
to
in the
start
face.
failing.
Oh my God, he like comes out in the sunlight. He's like, ugh, God. Remind me when everyone's fighting at night.
Sorry to tell, but yes, okay. Moving forward with Ben Affleck.
But Ben Affleck, yeah, he's going to be taking a larger role, which I think is great, and I think that could only
Hopefully.
that is some indication that they're going to be leading towards some type of handoff of the Justice League.
If you
DC.
told Mike McLean 3 years ago that he'd be so excited that Ben Affleck was getting an expanded role in the DC universe, I would have been like,
I mean, I think
you are crazy.
Dark times for
Again,
the
me
DC
going
universe.
back to the past and me
Would've-
going,
right.
God, just get your weight together, man.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to say, no, listen, it's about Ben Affleck. You're going to like it. I'm gonna be like, oh, come on, man. Lose. What? How fat are we going to get?
Come on, man.
I mean, it's strange because they definitely need something. They have Jeff Johns, who is, helping write the
they
Batman
need
script.
anyone
And
to help.
When does The Killing Joke come out?
It is coming out soon. I don't have the date, but it's coming out very soon. It's going to be rated R. I'm excited. It's coming out very soon. I don't want to use
got
word.
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill is
the
involved.
Joker.
Let me just look up The Killing Joke here. But it's going to be.
the trailer.
I thought it looked good. But, I wasn't. I thought
I wasn't.
I don't know. I thought it was that The Killing Joke was sort of like overrated. It's not a very long comic.
Right, so they're going to have to throw a lot more
in there. It looked
But
fine.
the same thing with 300, and 300 worked as a movie, even though they added a lot of extra stuff because the comic book is, like, if you were going to read the comic, if you saw the movie 300 and you're like, oh, I'll read that comic book, you'd be surprised because, like, an extended shit, you're done with that comic book.
Comes out July 2016. I'm being shown here. I don't have the nostalgia for The Killing Joke. I only read it like 2 years ago. I'm like, all right, that was fine. I guess I'll just make myself lunch now. It didn't change my life in any way.
I mean, a lot of people, for them, it was like it was.
I think because it was so different from what was around
right.
it at the time.
And the trailer looks like very much the same of that. It was is what I expected, and I wasn't blown away.
I mean, like the thing about these adaptions is now they don't have to, be
Adaptation.
teens. Sorry, they don't have to be like.
Mike McLean is here for a reason. He's getting his paycheck.
They don't. But these animated adaptions don't have to be
Adaptation.
I'm gonna keep doing it.
Braden is
okay.
here.
It's they don't have to be like rated for teens.
Right.
They can actually be adult sourced material and adult sourced like cartoons. Like it's gonna be interesting to see how much they're actually willing to go and how far they're going to put on this screen and how much time, because it seems like because it has an R rating, like is it going to be like a hard R, like Deadpool? Because Deadpool was a hard R for everything they got away with. I was surprised. Or is this going to be like a softer R where it's going to be like fuck? Just one fuck.
I think it's just going to be. I don't think it's going to be R because of the language. I think it's going to be R for
Commissioner
content.
Gordon being all S&M.
Yeah,
Well,
and maybe Barbara being raped. Maybe.
Dark Knight
Cartoon, right?
Returns was PG-13, and it had. I mean, let's took the scenes where Joker's going through, and after some pretty crazy times surrounding a Batman film with shooting, and there's a scene of Joker going through and shooting people in a
love
tunnel.
Yeah.
Into the. But that was a PG-13, so I'm assuming this one would be even more graphic,
Yeah,
and even more crazy, and and really touch on a lot of hard R things. About
it's definitely going to be interesting to see how much they adapt, like what happened to Barbara and like the scene where Jim Gordon's going through his own tunnel of love, and it's all these photos of what they did to Barbara.
I would hope that this is sort of the swan song for The Killing Joke, as the whole Barbara, Joker shooting Barbara Gordon and her becoming paralyzed, and this is the last they kind of do. They kind of distance themselves from this Killing Joke and Barbara being paralyzed. Yeah. For basically ever. I think they're trying to revitalize the Batgirl character, giving her this new poppier, orange, more strong, type of outfit and character. I think getting shot and being a potential rape victim, I think referring back to that only hurts that initiative. So I think this is hopefully the last.
I think the people who are nostalgic for The Killing Joke aren't reading the new.
They're definitely not reading the new Batgirl comic, because for them it's the Killing Joke's totally in canon. And again, there's still people disputing
canon films. Who brought you RoboCop?
That's right. Well, there's still a dispute of like, is this actually in canon? And the comics they went along with it. The comics put it into canon
for a long time.
We're winding down.
Exactly.
The scotch is going down easy.
Got some scotch going down easy, and now they're not really sure if they want to keep it in canon. The rebirth is coming soon.
Well, so even at the tail end of the team that's leaving Batgirl, they wrote it so that all these memories were, implanted into Batgirl's head.
We don't know if the Killing Joke memories were implanted or if they were real memories. And
now Mark knows what I do when you guys start talking about actual comic books.
So DC Rebirth is coming up. So
sit back for the ride.
Watch the movie, read the comics, and see what kind of directions they go with the Batgirl character. But I think I think we've touched on a lot of great things, touched a lot of great material.
We learned a lot about you and your love of the Vision.
Oh, I love the Vision.
Can't wait for that back tattoo to come through.
Maybe I hear the news are falling. Kelsey Grammer, the Frasier character, Vision in the kitchen. I love everything about it.
But it was Niles.
Niles in the kitchen. He doesn't have a theme song, so I don't know what to sing there.
They should have done a Niles spinoff.
They should have.
But I digress.
That's a spinoff of a spinoff.
That's a spinoff for another show. So I've been Sean DeWire at SeanDeWire.com is where you can find me. At News Super Podcast is where you can find us on Twitter, and look for that. Something similar on Facebook as far as our handle. Just look up a Super Friend Super Show on Facebook. Subscribe in iTunes. Buffalo City Life is where you can find this podcast each and every week. We're trying to get up on some other things. Spreaker is a website that we just got our podcast up on, so you can find us there as well, and basically all over the place. If you look anywhere else, you can send us an email.
Maybe YouTube soon.
YouTube. We just we're kind of dabbling with YouTube soon. Whether or not we're just going to do a direct. You take the MP3 and just basically just plopping the MP3 with just one picture, or doing a lot of different picture changes and making it very visual.
It all depends.
It all depends how much we
want to do,
how much our minds can stand.
Right.
How much time we spend in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah. Well, that's still my go-to too. So there's all those things. And so that's the show basically. Mike McLean.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at @1_awesome_life. I don't tweet very much, but I will if I get more followers. So
yes, sir.
I'm not going to do it for nobody.
You can find me and follow me at Sean Sand Sugar, or just around, Tonawanda, because that's where I live.
Oh, I didn't know you lived. So I thought you lived in like the city of Buffalo.
No. I mean, I used to.
Yeah.
But that was that time that I was followed around by a guy in a cat suit.
And now you're telling people to follow you around.
Mark McLean.
Oh, social media we're talking about?
Anything you want to just even tell people about.
Mark McLean 716 yo.
Mm-hmm.
Not yo in there, but just 716.
See if that's available.
Yeah, I should do that.
Like that.
Really get that going. But
yeah,
no, anything.
We're happy to have you.
Social media.
We're happy to have you.
Very happy to be here, guys. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Come back anytime. Thank you for not only being here, but coming on the Super Friend Super Show AMC outing.
This might be a two-parter. This was a long one.
This was definitely, well,
let's talk about it.
After all the cutting I end up doing.
Oh, okay.
It's only going to be about 20 minutes, so we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Only talk about the vision.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just vision.
It's just vision.
Cut out all that non-vision stuff. It's going to be 2 minutes long.
I have a vision for what this show eventually is going to turn into.
Vision?
Oh.
So, Super Friends Super Show issue number 4. It's a late night for all of us right now. It is, it's pushing on 1 o'clock. You know what that means.
Time to drink some
more.
more.
Time to drink some more, then fall to sleep immediately. Maybe catch a flash or two to put you to sleep.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Day. Oh, all those mothers out there. Pour out that whiskey on the ground. No. Share a little bit. Nope. Can't waste it.
Gotta pump and dump that out.
And that's it for us. It's been a long evening. We went out to see the film, and now we've recorded an entire podcast. So we're ready to tuck these Super Friends into bed.
Aw, the big Super Friends bed.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Hey, baby, I hear the blues are calling. Tossed salads and scrambled eggs. Quite stylish. And maybe I seem a bit confused. Yeah, maybe, but I got you pegged. But I don't know what to do with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs. They're calling again. Scrambled eggs all over my face. What is a boy to do? Frazier has left the building.